It's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there's a hole and someone went out." That is a real voice on a real air traffic control recording from the afternoon of April 17th, 2018. Listen to how it's said, because the way it's said is the whole story. There is no scream in it, no shake. It is the flat, unhurried voice of someone reading a grocery list. And the woman speaking those words was, at that exact moment, flying a passenger jet with a hole torn in its side, one engine dead, and a cabin full of people behind her who thought they were about to die. The question this whole story turns on is simple. Where does a person get a voice like that? Her name was Tammie Jo Shults, and she was the captain of Southwest Airlines flight E1380. It had taken off that morning from New York, bound for Dallas, with 149 people aboard. An ordinary flight. About 20 minutes in, cruising near 32,000 feet, the left engine of the Boeing 737 did something engines are built their entire lives never to do. It came apart. Later, investigators would trace it to a single fan blade inside the engine, cracked by metal fatigue, invisible, growing over thousands of flights, until that morning, it finally let go. When it did, the engine tore itself open and threw shrapnel into the side of the aircraft at hundreds of miles an hour, and one of those pieces hit a window. At 32,000 feet, a window is the only thing standing between a pressurized cabin and an atmosphere that cannot keep a human being alive. When it shattered, the air inside the plane blew out through the hole in an instant, with enough force to pull a seated, belted passenger halfway through the opening. Her name was Jennifer Riordan. She was 43, a bank executive, a wife, a mother of two, flying home. The passengers around her, among them a firefighter and a nurse, fought to pull her back inside and to save her. They did not succeed. Jennifer Riordan was the only person who died that day, and any honest telling of this story has to stop and say her name, because the way it is usually told can make her disappear into a happy ending. She should not. Behind the cockpit door, the cabin was chaos, a roar of wind, oxygen masks swinging, people praying and texting goodbyes. And on the other side of that door were two pilots, Shults and her first officer, Darren Ellisor, doing the opposite of panicking. The plane was shaking violently and trying to roll. Half its thrust was gone, and Shults got on the radio to the controllers in that same impossible voice. "We have part of the aircraft missing," she told them, "so we're going to need to slow down a bit. Part of the aircraft missing," delivered like a minor scheduling note. So, back to the question, where does that come from? Because a voice like that is not a personality trait you're born with. It is built. And to see how hers was built, you have to go back decades to a girl who was told over and over that the one thing she wanted to do was not for her. Tammie Jo Shults grew up wanting to fly. As a girl, she wasn't even allowed to attend an aviation career day at her school. The reason given was simply that she was a girl, and girls weren't invited. When she was old enough, the Air Force turned down her application to be a pilot, so she went to the Navy, and the Navy said yes. She became one of the first women in the United States Navy to fly the F/A-18 Hornet, a frontline fighter jet, in an era when women were still barred from flying combat missions. So Shults flew as the adversary. She played the enemy in training, flying against the male pilots who would go to war, teaching them to fight by outflying them in the sky over and over again. If a girl who wasn't allowed into a career day ending up in the cockpit of a fighter jet is the kind of story you wish more people knew, take a second and hit that like button. It tells me these are the lives worth telling. And subscribe, because what all those years actually gave her is the reason 148 people came home. Stay with me, because here is what a fighter pilot's training really is. It is years of deliberately putting yourself into situations at the very edge of control. Engine trouble, systems failing, the ground coming up fast, and practicing again and again until the part of the brain that screams gets quiet and the part that solves problems takes over. Panic isn't willed away, it's trained out. The calm on that radio wasn't Shults being unusually brave in one moment. It was thousands of hours of preparation for a moment she hoped would never come. And when it came, it worked. She and Elisor wrestled the crippled jet into a fast, controlled descent and put it down safely on the runway at Philadelphia. 148 people who, 20 minutes earlier, had been writing goodbye messages to their families, walked off that airplane alive. And then Shults did something the recordings don't capture. Once they were on the ground, she got out of her seat and she walked the length of the cabin, row by row, person by person, and spoke to the passengers, one at a time, in that same steady voice. Not as a captain making an announcement, as a human being, checking on other human beings who had just survived the worst minutes of their lives. She has never been comfortable being called a hero. She has been careful ever since to point back to her crew, to the passengers who tried to save Jennifer Riordan, to say that she was not alone up there. It would be easy to turn her into a clean legend. She won't allow it, and neither should we, because a woman died on that flight, and the people who love her live with that, no matter how good the landing was. But the voice remains. That flat, calm, unbelievable voice on the recording, describing a catastrophe as if she were describing the weather. Now you know where it came from. It came from every door that was shut in her face. The career day she wasn't allowed into, the application that was rejected, the cockpit she was told wasn't for her. She spent decades being told no and becoming, quietly, one of the most capable pilots in the sky. And on the one afternoon, it mattered more than anything. The girl who wasn't allowed to fly was the calmest person on a falling airplane. And the reason, almost everyone on it came home. If you want more stories like this one, real, forgotten, hidden in the details the official version leaves out, watch the video already coming up on your screen right now. Here on It Sounds Like Fiction, but it's history, there's always one more secret waiting.